Hello and welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport. So this evening I'm going to talk to you about decals and a model, a very old Brumm model Fiat 500C Topolino. In the background you can see a part of the photograph of a Fiat 500C Giardinetta estate that I photographed at the Padova Classic Car Exhibition. I think it must have been 23 years ago or 24 years ago. Anyway, let's talk about this model first of all. So this is a model by Brumm. It's a very old one, in fact. You can see it doesn't have the hubcaps. It's a very basic version. That I've had this since I was probably, I don't know, it's a bit dusty. I'm going to bring it clean. I always use a soft brush to dust things. And I've had this since I was a kid. I must have been 5 or 6. And my mum bought me this model because I really loved the Topolino. Because one of the next door neighbour had a Fiat Topolino. And this was 1980, 81 more or less, so you could still see the odd Fiat Topolino in not splendid condition being used as a daily driver. A bit like somebody like myself going around in a Fiat Panda or a Fiat Regatta nowadays in 2024. But you could still see the odd Fiat Topolino. So I remember, of course, there were starting to be classic cars at the time. The ones that had survived so long actually survived. And so this is the whole story behind my passion for the Topolino. And my neighbour's Topolino was dark blue, the same shade as this one. And oh, I liked that car. I remember standing, we used to live in Corso Vittorio Emanuele, that's in Padova, near Prato della Valle, which is a very big square. I'll take you once to see the various places I lived in this town, because I moved house several times. Anyway, about this car. Of course, I got this when I was a kid, and I played with this intensively. This was very scruffy, falling on the floor. You can see that the wheels, you can see underneath the chassis, the base plate and chassis tell the story of this car. So eventually, when I was, I think it must have been 1993. I remember it was summer 93, the year I turned of age, because I was 18 on the 29th of November 1993. So okay, now you know my birthday. And that summer I scraped all the old paint off this completely using an old screwdriver and I don't know what I used, sandpaper and things, but I scraped it down to bare metal and I repainted it with some, at that point it was rather old, Humbrol paint, gloss paint, diluted in turpentine, and it came quite nice, it came quite well. It's a good historical restoration, let's say. And I made a new piece of windscreen out of, I don't know which old bit of plastic I cut, and I glued it in position using super glue, as you can see by the haze. You wouldn't catch me using super glue on a model nowadays. You can see here the traces of the super glue. I'm always very vocal against the use of, you can see super glue haze there. Of course, when I finished the restoration last summer, I consider that super glue windscreen part of the history of this model, because this model here had a flush windscreen that was clipped in, that of course that got lost in years of playing, so I just glued a windscreen in. Last year, using my nib pen, I made the wipers, the windscreen wipers. I also touched up, still using the nib pen, I touched up the side lights. There was a headlamp lens missing here. I applied a spot of glue and glaze to make the headlamp lens. Maybe I might apply some more because it's not looking very, seems to have shrunk a bit. And so now, why am I talking about this with a sheet of decals in the back? Because this car originally had a number plate, a registration plate here at the back, which registration plate, of course, wore out in years. It was a Como CO, provincial code, because if I don't remember badly, the Brumm factory is in Lombardia. If I don't remember badly, I can't remember now. So many of the models have Como number plates. So of course, having restored the car and being from Padova, I decided that I'm going to be patriotic, and it's going to have a Padova number plate. So I looked up some photographs on internet of Padova registrations, and I opted for a registration number I made up, PD 75725. I chose 75 because I was born in 1975. I'm a bit of an ego megalomaniac in this department. I can't really remember exactly why I chose 75, but anyway, the whole point is that I went for 75725. There must be some logic behind the number. Anyway, that is the number plate. You can see that it's white letters on a black background. The thing is that this decal paper that I have is transparent, it's clear. I have to buy some white stuff. So of course, if it were white, it would be very simple. I would be simplifying my life to no end. But I had transparent stuff because I used it at first on another model that we'll talk about in another video. So what am I going to do? Number plate holder is silver, so I'm simply, and I might do it on camera, might do it right now, I'm simply going to paint the number plate holder white. But for such a small thing, I'm not bothering mixing white paint. I'm just going to use a white Pilot Pintor pen, and this is very good. So let's just do this. I'm adding a pair of glasses. There we go, and let's do it together. Okay, so I'm just moving the camera into a place where we can actually see what we're doing, and we'll do it together. Of course, I'll have to look beyond the camera because let's see if this pen's writing. Yes, sir, no problem. Okay, righto, here we are. I'm just holding this like this, but of course I'm not looking through the screen because otherwise I won't see anything. I have to keep my eyes on this. So I'm just going to color this with some white with a pen, because there's no point in getting out paintbrushes and things and using white paint for nothing when we have this pen. And this pen is absolutely fantastic because it covers well, it's very covering, and is good enough for our background. Okay, so that's a white number plate. That's a white background now. That could be police staff car now, or Vatican City. That's got white or modern number plate, but we're talking about historical ones. The normal Italian plates were black with white letters. So that's going to dry now, and tomorrow we're actually going to apply some decals. So that boy is ready for the decals. So this was a very good tool to have. It saves the day in many cases. I used it even on the Rivarossi tram number board at the front there. So that's also going to receive decals. It's the same, so we're going to be doing quite a lot of decals now. I wanted to show you one last thing on the decal sheet because I think it came really nicely. It came really nice. The railway logo, the winged wheel logo, it came, the one I drew, and it's really nice. It's really very, very nice. And it's a pity that this is not white decal paper, because I had considered maybe fitting it onto a styrene background painted silver, but I think so I'll find a use for these ones that are printed on transparent paper, but of course for the rail car I want to fit it on the blue part, and so I'm going to have to get some white decal paper. So I'll order some white decal paper, and we'll reprint these on white decal paper, because otherwise I'll go silly trying to do it, and it's too small to go and put it on. I even considered fitting the decal on some silver paper, then gluing the silver paper onto the side of the rail car, but I wouldn't like to make a mess of things, so we're going to print it out in white, because it came really better than expectations. I'm really very pleased by that, and it's a pencil drawing. This is a pencil drawing, scanned, and then I scanned it on a scanner, and then I contrasted it, and I think it came very, very well. So that's that. So that's all for the moment. Cheerio, and see you next time.